works in an opening that I always do for everyone is just for you to introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself for those that may be not familiar with you.
Okay, well, I'm Susan Eisenberg, and I think most people know me as the voice of Wonder Woman in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and a few other movies, Injustice the Game, and a few other things. Is this a gaming audience, or is this an animation audience?
I would say gaming more oriented.
Okay, so maybe Injustice, or Destiny, or Skyrim, maybe people would know me from there.
Alright, so when going to voice a character in a game versus, say, your traditional animated stuff, what's the process like between the two of them?
Well, they're different because with games, you're by yourself, and oftentimes you don't even get the script very far in advance. But the most important difference is that you're alone in the studio. I mean, you have a director and you have an engineer, but you don't have a cast to play off of. So if you're lucky enough, you can get a director to feed you the lines so that you're not just acting in a vacuum. So that's like the biggest thing. But I think in other ways, I mean, it's acting, it's a character. So in that way, you're telling a story. So in those ways, they're similar. But the experience is different in that with Justice League, we were in a room, there were maybe 14 people sometimes. And with games, you're womp womp by yourself.
So you've done the voice in Destiny for quite a long time. How has that evolved from the beginning to the current point now?
Well, they just keep upgrading it. I love that game and I love that character because it's not a huge stretch for me. She's human, first of all, so she's not an alien. I don't have to do an alien voice. And when I went for the job the first time, I said, "What do you want her to sound like?" And the director said, "Like you sound." And I thought, woo, that's a relief. I don't have to do a ton of grunting and alien sounds and all that. But it's just, I love being associated with it. A lot of people mention the game to me. They've played the human female player. They've played it. And I love, one of the things I've really come to love in video games is communicating with the player. There's a certain cadence as a voiceover actor that you develop over time when you're talking to the player. And Destiny really helped me finesse that and get comfortable with that. And to this day, that's one of my favorite things about doing games.
When looking at your long history with Wonder Woman, what would you say is the biggest difference between doing it from an animated perspective versus doing that character from a gaming perspective?
Well, for Injustice, it's, and Justice League, it's night and day because the character is so different. She's like a complete hero in Justice League, and that was my first introduction to her. So I have a connection, an affinity for her being heroic. Whereas with Injustice, she's not only a badass, but she's a badass. So it's very different finding the different characters, And then in DCU Online, the people who were behind that game, a lot of them were fans of Justice League. So that is a very comfortable fit when I do that game, and I still do a lot of sessions for that game. Because a lot of them were inspired by the Wonder Woman of Justice League. So it's like putting on a nice warm sweater. Injustice is like putting on a bikini and then going to a very cold climate. Very happy to have the job, but it's a little uncomfortable when you have to be so mean as a heroine, as that character. I mean, if her name was like Debbie Stevens, it would be totally different. But when it's Wonder Woman being that mean, it's like you have to just shift gears. So that's what I've tried to do.
So you've done a number of gaming roles. Do you see yourself pursuing more in the future, branching out to different types of games, or?
I think that as an actor, you just want to keep working. Truly. And so for voiceover, that means doing commercials, it means doing animation, it means doing promo work, video games. It's all part of voiceover. So I'm open to all of it. I mean, I love what I do. So if I can do a promo and then do a video game, it's all good. All of it.
A question I always like to ask voice actors is, what's it like to see yourself, on, say, a show or in a game, like, represented in there, and it's using your voice?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I can still remember, even going back to Justice League, when we saw it animated. And if you don't get chills from that, something's wrong with you. Because it's such a treat. And it's seeing it all come together. I mean, video games, as we know, and animation, these things take years to do. And so when you see that because a lot of times you're in the studio, there is no picture, right? So you're just creating that in your mind, and then you see what the developers did, and it blows you away.
And just
every time, by the way.
And just to wrap things up,
Yeah.
I like to leave a spot for you to say anything or go over anything you'd like.
Well, I would tell any of my gaming fans to stay tuned, because I do have something big coming, but I can't mention it yet. But it is coming, and I think people will be surprised by it. And just to thank everybody for playing the games and enjoying the games and liking my characters. So thank you.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.